Hello there, guys, and welcome to this week's watch list. I know it's absolutely gorgeous weather up here in Montreal. We just finally had summer spring. It's like a light switch. It goes from being cold in the morning and it's still cold and rainy to awesome and gorgeous. We've got 80 degrees up here. Absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to just remind you guys, we do have the Modern Trader Summit. It is less than 2 weeks away. If you are not able to come in person, you can still sign up for live streaming. In fact, the in-person seat sign up will be cutting off June 18th. So we just have about 10 more days. If you are thinking about coming in person, definitely book your seat as the cutoff is coming up. And live streaming as well is available on demand after it's fully recorded, because I also realized that you aren't necessarily going to be able to sit there for 8 hours that day if you aren't at the summit. And on my website, CJ and Trade, I mentioned I've had so many people ask me to help them in training, and doing it the best way possible would be to work in a room where I can help people every single day. So we've got the training pit, which is right here. You just go to my website, cjandtrade.com, training pit. It explains. It will be starting in the first week of August, and I'll be one of the moderators there helping people learn how to trade and learning with the best basics overall. So check it out. You can sign up here for the email list if you want to know updates about it, but I will let you know as well. So let's go ahead and get into the week and let's look at the SPY. So we've got the SPY on the weekly chart, right? And last week I said, hey, look, we've had this bounce back here. We came below. We're sort of in limbo land. Well, look at what we did. We totally bounced up. And I also notated, hey, look, the RSI is down here. The last time it was down here, look, back here, December 24th, basically that week when we rebounded the next week. So it is amazing. We've had this nice upward surge. Things are going well with Mexico now. We have the potential that China tariffs are going to be put off for a little while as well. So we might be ripping to new highs. We have broken the downward trend here. And Samir, that NSX drive was amazing. So if we look at it on the daily, we have broken above the 50 simple moving average as well. We broke above the 200 moving average, opened up there on the 4th, and then we just screamed up from there. So next potential resistance we've got right here, which we pretty much, let's see, where we opened on this candle here, 285.62. So we closed right there pretty much, 285.65. So we closed above that. So next potential, I'm going to say, is going to be right up here, 289.17 for the next test. And then potentially up here, 291 area. If we break 291, I think our next test would be up here, the 293. And then of course the high of, let's see, high this candle right here, 295 basically. So still feeling bullish. However, we are far away from the 4 and the 8 EMA, and this is the 21 EMA right here, which it does tend to ride below or above in the trend. So keep that on watch. Once we flipped here, we really upsurged from there. So keeping that on watch, we might come back down and test that, which is right at 283. So we could go up further, test that 285 level, 290 level, 289, 290, or come back down here to 283. So just keep it on watch for the week. Let's look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq again. Let's see, let's remove the fib there. So Nasdaq, we have the 4 crossing over the 8, a good bullish sign on the daily chart. And we went above the 200-day moving average, could go up and test the 50 moving average right there at 183.41. And the Russell. So the Russell basically had this downward trend and we broke that on the 3rd. And look at that, we're going up. However, we have not broken, I'm just going to go ahead and put alert right there. We have not broken that simple, the 21 EMA right there, 151.20. So I'm going to put that crossing 15 EMA daily. It's just that easy with TradingView. I love this software. So definitely check that out as well. And we'll go ahead and get into the potential longs for the week. So you can see it right over here. We have Pays, which does have 26.3 million in the float. This is the daily chart. We have a 52-week breakout, which in this crazy market, there's always stocks that are breaking out. Shopify is doing amazing. Roku is doing amazing. There are some that just are continuing to squeeze those shorts. They think, oh, a high is set in. I'm going to go ahead and put in some shorts, and then they start going down, and then they get squeezed even further. So we had higher than normal volume. It went ahead, it broke out, and it held above this past high. So looking at it on the 15-minute chart, I would say support right here around 10.95, just below the $11 mark. And then the high, of course, was 11.22. So looking for that to hold, and it was 55.97% short flip volume on Friday. Hello, bad scientists. So next on the potential long list is MDB, Mongodb, technology and software company, which they are, especially everything with 5G is just ripping higher now as there's the big talk of everybody converting over, cable's going to go to the wayside, everything is going to be 5G wireless streaming. So I'm not sure if this is in that sector, but a lot of the technology stocks are definitely moving up based on that. We have support of 168.05, resistance of 170.99. It does have 36.8 million in the float and 66.97% short float volume. So it is lower float and hitting brand new highs. Look at that. I had this pack here when it had earnings back in March, and it really just tested that low, but it never broke below. So again, they had earnings ripped higher, and could be a same scenario, right? Look, we held that low of 122.62 for 3 months, and it never broke below. So keep that one on watch. We have DCI. So DCI, you can see we have a bit of a mess with all the averages. They're sort of all converging all together. It came down, and then we just hit the 120 simple moving average, but we've got the 200 and the 50 up here. However, they are flattening out. So that looks like the downward motion has stopped somewhat, that they're becoming flatter, and it could be a good time to get into it potentially if it can hold above this 21 EMA right here, which it touched on Friday and dropped back down. So if we go to the 15-minute chart, I would put the support at 48.97 and resistance at 49.22. The next potential resistance to break 49.32, but ultimately 49.45. So support of 48.97 and 49.50 really for the resistance on that one. INSEE Therapeutics. So INSEE had a big spike up on the 6th, pulled back, and now it's continuing to run up, holding above all the averages on the 15. 1.28 for support to be broken to the downside for potential short, 1.38 for resistance to be broken to the upside. When we look at it on the year, we do have this gap right here, right? So this could have a gap fill potential. This looks like it was what was going to happen here. However, the seller sold it down. We still have pretty good momentum going to the upside. The 4 crossed over the 8 on the 6th. So keeping it on watch really to break above and hold above the high here of 150. If it can hold above 150, which is also the 21 EMA, it looks like it could potentially come up and test this 50 simple moving average on the daily of 310 and potentially fill this gap to the upside. So INSEE does have 26 million in the float, and it's 55.2% short flip volume on Friday. So nice potential move to it. Next on the potential long is Neptune Wellness Solutions, which is actually a Canadian company. Pharmaceutical area sector, so keep that on watch. As many times when they do run up, then they will go ahead and post an offering for secondary offering to generate capital. So $4.99 for support and $5.20 after hours high for resistance to be broken. And you can see here that is the all-time high for the year. And we'll go back all-time high for 5 years. For overall all-time high, we have $5.50 here, and then a spike up of $6. So if we clear $6, it does have 400 million in the float. That has a nice potential run to it. Actually, let's go ahead and just put a quick alert. What was that high? 609 alert. Crossing up 610 and crossing up. There we go. So if it does break out from there, it's an all-time breakout, lifetime breakout. Could be a great stock to fall into. All right, so on the potential shorts, we do have OLLI here. It's a bit of a mess, the 94. Let's get rid of these past ones here. All right, so we had, this is the monthly chart. That's why it looks so messy. All right, so on our 15-minute chart, you can see on Friday, came down, hit a new low back here, and then bounced up. So looking for resistance of 96.5 to the upside, first support to potentially be tested and broken of 94.60, and then below that 92.87. When we do pull it back on the year, there are so many stocks that are now ripping up that many of them are upper ones that have gone and they've hit new highs and have that potential to crawl back. So this one ran below the 50 simple moving average, yet it closed above. If we do break down below this level, I think definitely test of 89 area and then potentially down to the 200 of $86. And OLLI does have 54 million in the float. Next one up is Tiffany's with 120 million in the float. So Tiffany's, let's look at it on the 15-minute chart. They'd had earnings spiked up, but it was a sell-off, and then it came down, and it looks like we've got this little downward wedge coming here, if you can see it, right? We've got this right here. It's actually like a triangle. And it looks like we might have potentially broken it to the downside here. So keeping this one on watch, support of 90.17 and resistance of 91.45 to the upside. On the year, you can see that it went up, hit the 200 simple moving average here, and look at that. It's really converging right next to the 50, but the 50 has crawled over and it does look like it's going in that downward motion, as well as the price action for the daily chart. And that trend line that I drew, it's really been following that trend line all the way down. So if we break down here, it could be a test down to 87 area and then down potentially further down to the 82 mark right there. Next on the potential short list, QTRX with 17.6 million. So this one does have the potential to squeeze if you get into it with a lower float. However, look at this. We pretty much have a gravestone doji right here, really far away from the averages. So it looks like this one could potentially have moved down to 28 potentially, and even 26.90, if not all the way back down here to the prior high before the breakout. Actually, I would say the top of this candle here, around 26. So keep this one on watch. You can see on Friday spiked up, hit the high, and came back down. So that one is a potential for watching for the downside. Next one for potential short is IDU. So this one has potential support of 151.63. Not sure why it didn't populate in there. Okay, and resistance of 152.80. Let's see, I'll put the resistance right here, 152.80, and support of 151.63. I went all the way back here. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so 51.63. Claudio, I definitely do. If it's a longer term swing, it's going to be different for me than from daily, but I will definitely check to see where the big guys are loaded on the level 2 for looking at it for daily pictures. I definitely note that, especially on the indexes, to see where they could be going potentially. Let me pull this back on IDNU. Okay, so we have 151.60 area right here about for support. Let's put that there. We've got this resistance. Okay, so you can see this is really high up away from the averages, hit a new high, yet it closed below that new high. So could be potential short, and we have massive volume on that downward action. So could see potential further downward action to test the 151.40 area, then down here to 149.50. If we break down below that, potentially down to the 50 moving average of 147.50 area. Final on the potential short is Cody, same sort of thing. So Cody, a lot of these, they've had massive run-ups. They have, a doji or a downward candle that has closed below that prior high. But this one also, it ran up, right? but as it was running up, the volume was running down. So there's less buyers getting into it. So this could mean that there are more shorts getting into it potentially. I didn't look at the short volume from the prior day, but this has 49 million in it. So this one coming back to potentially the 4 EMA or even 8 EMA, 1741 here. And let's do it. I had 1838 pretty much right there, and 1822 right down here. Oh, goodness. There we go. And it does have 47 million in it, like I said. This one is breaking up. It also tested the high, so it's a double top right now. So we could have further pullback, lower volume, new high that pulled back off of the new high, and double top. So potential short there. We also have potential longs of GII. So this one had earnings, bounced up off of earnings, higher volume down here. They had 2 down days, set a new high on the 3rd day above the 4 EMA. So this one could continue up. Really, as a potential long entry, I would like it to break above 2710 area right here. This resistance looks as resistance in the past, so it would need to break that for it to continue up. So keeping that one on watch. And WTRH, same scenario. Been running down. We have higher volume here, right? We have volume that's increasing, and the price action has stopped and is increasing as well. So I would look for a breakout of 668 for crossing up right there, for it to be a good entry, for it to hold above that potentially. All right, guys, as always, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Come to the Modern Trader Summit. I would love to see you there. If not, sign up for streaming, as it was created to help everyone just like you. Have a great weekend. Carpe Profit. Bye.